Summer this year for animation was absolutely insane. There were so many amazing movies coming out this year, and it was almost like every week there was something new to talk about. And I feel like today that now we're kinda halfway through August, and it looks like the grand scheme of things for animation is kinda closed up for summer right now. I feel like I should rank all the movies that have come out this summer, because there is a lot of great movies, and a lot of so-so. But I feel like I should rank them all today, starting from worst to best. So strap in, guys, this is gonna be quite a long video. So before we start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and if you have a different opinion on where I place these movies, let me know down in the comments. And let's get into my ranking of all the summer animated movies. Now starting in at the bottom, I really tried. It's not that this movie is bad, honestly. I don't think there was a terrible movie that released this summer for animation, but it was a good okay. For me, it was a 6 out of 10, but Miraculous, Ladybug, and Cat Noir the movie. Now, honestly, I have watched the show here and there. It really wasn't that appealing to me, and the episodes I did watch, I couldn't get with it. It just really wasn't that great, and honestly, some fans had told me, yeah, leave the show alone. They just finished their first arc, I had heard, and that is insane because the show has been going on for a while. But the movie actually looked intriguing. The animation was really good for this movie. It looked really nice. And surprisingly, this is one of France's most expensive films ever. Wow. I was not expecting that. And you know, since it's an origin story, I can give the movie a try, and maybe I won't be disappointed. And I checked out the movie, and it was just...
What do you mean,
Like, it wasn't terrible or anything, it was just... okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, I do have to give the animation props. The story was kind of hit and miss. I mean, it is the origin story after all. One thing I wasn't expecting it was it being a musical. And one thing I just couldn't get my mind off, Marinette's voice being drastically different during normal scenes and then switching to when she is singing. They sound like two different people. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but they sound like two different people. Although Ladybug's and Cat Noir's dynamic was pretty entertaining and pretty funny at times, I'll give it that. It still kinda kept the same humor of the show, so there were times where I was just, But I do like that the climax was okay. I mean, it did kind of feel a little bit rushed, but I did like Cat Noir and his father's, like, you know, reunion after being distant the entire movie. That was pretty touching. But overall, it was just a good 6 out of 10. I probably would really rewatch it. I mean, I know Miraculous fans that I know, they really love this movie, but for someone just entering the franchise, it's a good entryway, but it's just okay to me. So it'll be going at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is Rubygillman Teenage Kraken. Okay, now I know there's a bunch of people banging on my door. This movie was really good. Okay? Rubygillman Teenage Kraken is not a bad movie, quotation mark, but it isn't like a masterpiece or like, you know, the greatest DreamWorks movie of all time. But I actually did really like this movie. You've seen in other reviews, or if you're new to this channel, go check out those videos. But I did really appreciate what this movie was trying to do. I mean, the plot did feel a little bit rushed. I did really like Ruby as a character. I really did like her family. Chelsea kind of felt one-dimensional. I thought they were going to do a little bit more with her character. But there's a lot of entryway for a lot of new stuff in this franchise. The world building was very good. The animation and some scenes was really, really good. And the soundtrack was pretty top-notch. So I don't really hate this movie. No, I really don't. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's pretty rewatchable. I would rewatch the movie. And you know, I would actually recommend to go check it out. It's nowhere near as bad as some previous DreamWorks movies we've gotten, like Boss Baby, Back in Business, or Trolls War Tour, or Spirit Untamed. It's just okay. And I'm really weird that how after Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, they put DreamWorks on this pedestal as the most goated animation studio ever, and then Rubygillman comes out and that just breaks the hype train. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that Shark Tale, the Bee Movie, and a bunch of other movies exist. You cannot tell me that DreamWorks has made a masterpiece every single time. So it's a good movie. It's not necessarily okay. It's good. I would recommend go checking it out. So Rubygillman Teenage Kraken, I would put at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Pixar's Elemental. Now, going into this movie, I had pretty, low expectations. I mean, Pixar's track record lately has been pretty okay. I did actually like Soul, and actually now, I really like Luca a lot more than I did when I first watched it. Turning Red, I still have the same, it's okay mindset. I mean, I get what it was going for. And Lightyear was just a very huge disappointment for what they could have done with that movie. And now we're here with Elemental, and while the trailers did give it a very, very, very basic plot, and honestly, I get the reason why most people didn't go see the movie initially. It just looked very basic. It was kind of basically stuff you've seen in other movies and TV shows already. But going into the actual movie, it was very, very good. I mean, I guess everyone could agree on, when the trailer first released, that this movie was eye candy the movie. Looking at everything and the little details they put in with all the elements and all these little fun puns, I mean, it does get a little overdone with this movie, I will give it that. I mean, it's an Element movie, it's bound to happen, but it was eye candy. The city looked beautiful. Yes, I get the resemblance of Zootopia. Yes, I can agree with that. But the story and characters itself were actually, really good. I really did come to love Elemental and Wade's relationship throughout the movie. Although, towards the middle, it did feel like it jumped a bit for how fast Wade and Ember got together, but it was okay. I mean, with romantic movies, first of all, this is actually Pixar's first, rom-com romantic movie, so that's something pretty interesting. One thing I really liked in this movie was Wade's and Ember's chemistry. Alright, that's enough. But one thing I wasn't expecting in this movie, mostly because of the marketing, was obviously, the romantic side of the movie, and the immigration story that was completely hidden in the entire of its marketing, and that's where the movie was really faulting at. And it was a really pretty emotional story. It really did finally feel like a Pixar movie, and I walked out satisfied. It's a good 8 out of 10 for me. I really did enjoy it, and I probably will watch it from time to time. It's still surprisingly in theaters, and it still plans to be in theaters all the way until Labor Day, so if you still haven't seen it, surprisingly, go check it out. I'd really recommend go checking it out. I really did like it. And also Carl's date short was pretty cute too. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna place Elemental. In number 4. Now it's time for those 2 new special guests I was talking about earlier. Today we have AndrewIG and it's Audrey on for this video. Today we're going to be talking with AndrewIG on what his favorite animated movies were this summer and which ones did he dislike. We'll also have It's Audrey on later in the video. Make sure to go check out both of these content creators, they're amazing. First up, let's hear what AndrewIG thinks.
I don't want to be that guy who is like 2023 is the best year we've had for animation, but 2023 is the best year for animation we've had in years. It feels like everything from previous innovations have come to fruition, which is why you're seeing banger after banger coming out. Whether it be in streaming or in theatre, there's one thing that's clear: consistency and quality. This summer has been crazy and it's got some of my favourite movies of all time. Then it's got Elemental. I'll get to you. Thanks to Chili Chibi for inviting me. I'm stuck between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and Spiderverse. But I have thought about it, and Mutant Mayhem wins out in my opinion. First of all, it's a complete project compared to the Spiderverse, which isn't complete on its own. Have you seen that ending? I also don't think Across the Spiderverse is as perfect a movie as Into. I liked it whenever there wasn't an MCU affiliation, and even if it's weak, it's still there. Not to mention, the staff in Spiderverse were overworked, and that led to several versions of the movie being released. No, it was not a quirky gimmick. Compare that to Mutant Mayhem. One word to describe this movie is comfort. The soundtrack made me feel comfortable. Maybe it's just because I'm a teenager, but I related a lot more to these characters than I did when I was a child. The pacing is completely understated here. It's fantastically paced. Every joke lands really hard. Have you read the soundtrack? It's very witty. What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen. My jaw was dropped the entire time looking at that animation. There's not much I can say that hasn't been said already, but the stylized movies that we've gone in this past decade have definitely set the precedent for this decade. Movies like Mutant Mayhem is why I'm obsessed with animation as a medium of storytelling. Tough pick between Elemental and Rubygillman. It's Elemental. I don't think that Elemental is a worse movie than Rubygillman. More so I think that it's upsetting that this movie came from Pixar. I grew up with the image that Pixar was unattainable in the animation industry, and it was an event when they dropped the movie. Because they have this particularly unique ability to make you tear up, which is in stark contrast to what other studios were doing around that time. It was unique. It was their gimmick. And I grew up with them after their supposed peak. The Pixar movies from my childhood were Monsters University, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur. I only like one of those movies. Cut to 2023. Pixar have gotten the short end of the stick since the pandemic with Soul, Turning Red, and Luca, and Elemental indicates an end to their relegation as a streaming exclusive. Elemental is incredible at being okay. It's very inoffensive and predictable. I do like it. It's a change in direction from Pixar. It's a rom-com, and when has there been an animated rom-com? But I do feel that it falls flat in terms of ambition and oversaturation of the market. Elemental would have banged 10 years ago, but we've had Zootopia, who did the multicultural allegory first. What makes Elemental different is that it deals with the tension of interracial relationships, which hasn't been covered that much in animated features. Anyway.
Thank you, AndrewIG, for coming on to this video. He's a great content creator, and you guys should really go check him out. But now we're entering the top 3 because this is my channel. We're talking about my stuff. So, coming in at number 3 is Nimona. I was really not expecting to love this film as much as I did. I mean, I've heard about the original webcomic Nimona. Its art style wasn't that really appealing to me, so I hadn't read it. But I've heard that a lot of people had praised it, and hearing the story of how this movie went through straight up animation hell, through moving from Blue Sky to then being terminated by Disney, then being left up in the air 75% done, and then ending up with Annapurna Pictures, you know, the same company that made that movie we don't talk about. And it's just really crazy to how this film it came out. Not a lot of animated films get to say that nowadays, when they get canceled by the big studio and you never hear about it ever again. And there's a whole video I could probably make about canceled animated movies. Well, there's that guy, he covers most of that stuff. But still, I really do feel like that this movie deserved to come to light, especially if it was 75% done, and the message it was trying to tell. First of all, Nimona is a bunch of chaotic energy, and I love it, and I feel a lot of people also did really like it. Her dynamic with Ballister was really, really funny. I really did like that. I mean, the story itself actually wasn't that predictable. I actually didn't know who the Queen Quiller wasn't really gonna be. I mean, well, spoilers, it was the director. But it goes a little beyond that. I mean, I feel like everyone in that point in the story was wondering if the movie was going to end at that part. Nope, there was like 40 minutes left in the movie, and that's when stuff hit the fan. And it's crazy that they were able to do this. Okay, first of all, the representation in this movie was done very well. It was not a lot of studios go this far with their representation. But regarding representation, this is on par with, like, the Owl House levels. Like, a lot of other animated films kind of just do it. It's not really important to the story. It just disappears, you know? But the message here is very, very strong. I feel like even the littlest of child that has been exposed to our modern society can pick up on what this film is trying to tell. And it really does it really well. And, oh my god. the final scene, like the final climax of Nimona, was Heartstrings the movie. That tore me apart. I was really not expecting that. And the whole climax, because I haven't had read the books, so I had no idea where this is with their... We're back, but like I said, I had no idea where this climax was gonna go since I hadn't had read the webcomics, but it goes there. And when Nimona actually goes to the sword in the middle of the city and actually tries to off herself, this is territory not a lot of animated films go down. And it shocked a lot of people, including me. I was not expecting it to go this far with the levels of how people in these positions can feel and how they feel outcasted from everyone and how everyone hates them. I get what the movie was trying to tell, and they did a really, really good job of telling this. And yeah, I feel like this is definitely Blue Sky's best film yet. And definitely, yes, it does deserve to go in the top 3. I really did like this movie. Yes, it takes a little bit to start picking up. A lot of the friends I've showed this to, did say the beginning was a kind of a little slow. And on a rewatch a few times, yeah, it's a tad bit slow. But once it picks up, it picks up. It's a really fun movie, and it's on Netflix. You should really go check it out. I really did like that movie. And that is my number 3. Coming in at number 2, there are 2 more movies left. 2 movies that have branched off from each other in various animation styles. And coming in at number 2 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, this movie especially, I was very excited for. When I first heard it was announced that we were finally getting a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that was animated, since TMNT 2007 was just okay, and it was gonna be under Seth Rogen, and how they were gonna get actual teenagers to play the Turtles, this was like the perfect movie. And then when we first got a first sneak peek of it, and how its animation style was so drastically different from what the previous Turtles have done, and it really does look similar to Spiderverse. You can't deny that. Which I don't want people to call it a Spiderverse clone, because it's not. It is its own thing. Yes, it took inspiration, but that doesn't make it a clone. And I really did like this interpretation of the Turtles. I really like the fact that they're going really early in their days as the Turtles, and they're basically preteens at the moment. 12, 13, maybe even 11. But I feel like they did a really good job of balancing it. Yes, the humor may land or fall flat sometimes, but it's kind of this generation's humor. This is the first movie in a very long time where modern day jokes are not cringy in this movie. I was not expecting, but they did it on a good level. I really like that they did do that. And with the animation, there was a lot of creative fight scenes in this movie. This same fight scene that Editor Me is playing, I will forever probably have this stuck in my head. It's such a cool scene. As soon as I saw this, I was like, yeah, this is great. Superfly in this movie was also very, very good. I was not expecting him to be such a fun villain. And I really can't wait to see where this franchise goes next. Because now this is somehow the one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that is fresh on both sides of Rotten Tomatoes. So this franchise is definitely going places. And spoiler alert, it is continuing. I mean, if you saw the post-credit scene, you know who's showing up. It's continuing. And I feel like you already know what number 1 is gonna be. It's gonna be... Actually, before I tell you, this video is sponsored by AndrewIG Check.
Shadow Legends.
It's Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Come on now. But this movie, especially now that I finally got to rewatch it for the 3rd time now that it's on digital, it's still a masterpiece. I really, really love this movie. And one thing is that I've heard there's a lot of differences in the digital version. One I did notice is during the scene where Miles enters Earth 42 and he's realizing that he's not home, they actually play Miguel's line. I actually did notice. But a lot of the other things are kind of minor. I wouldn't say it ruins the movie, it doesn't. But it's a little subtle change. I don't know why they did. But, okay, the theatrical version is a masterpiece. They're both very great. They're the same movie. But this, I still will not forget opening night when this movie started. The movie just looked gorgeous, man. You had to be there if you saw this on that big screen. TVs and phone screens do not do it justice. The movie just looked beautiful. The soundtrack was just on par as the first movie, and that's a take, because some people still consider the first Spiderverse to have a better soundtrack. I think they're both right there. And if this is really on track based on how both of these movies have turned out, this may become one of the best trilogies in cinema. And it's crazy to me that out of all companies, Sony Animation is producing this. The same company that made one of the worst animated movies to be released in 2016. Well, actually no, 2017, being the Emoji Movie. That is the same studio. And honestly, they made a quick 180 with that, and it's just insane. This movie really hits hard with a lot of things, and it's just a love letter to the Spider-Man franchise and all its different versions, all its wacky interpretations of the character. And Miles' storyline still is really perfect. Miles and Gwen's dynamic throughout this movie is really tough towards the end, but I feel like they are gonna definitely get together in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man 2099 was just insane. He was a total badass. And also, yeah, he was also going crazy in this movie. There's a lot more for him to be told in Beyond the Spider-Verse. I know it is. And I know, especially with the Spot, he was the most unexpected great villain. Like, he's now like one of the most powerful Marvel villains ever now. He went, I kid you not, he really did go from some villain of the week to a multiversal destruction eater, basically. He could destroy a universe at his fingertips. And I'm really excited to see where Beyond the Spider-Verse goes. I mean, we're not getting it next year, obviously, number one, due to everything going on in Hollywood right now, and number two, just the animators haven't even started, so we wouldn't really want a rushed finale, would we, guys? I mean, I don't expect the movie to release probably till late 2025. Maybe I might be wrong, but they should give this movie the time it needs. And if you still haven't watched the movie, go watch it. Not even gonna say I recommend it. Just go watch it. It's a really great movie. It really was a solid 10 out of 10. And honestly, yeah, this might be one of the best animated movie of the year so far. And one thing is gonna be crazy this year is the animated category for the Oscars. There are so many contenders this year that it's insane. It's a stacked lineup, which I could respect every single selection they probably pick. I know Nimona is gonna be in there. I know Spiderverse is gonna be in there. I know they're gonna definitely either pick a Pixar or a Disney film. Most likely gonna be Elemental. I don't know how Wish is gonna turn out. I feel like they're gonna throw in a few other movies. We'll just have to see. And it's gonna be really good this year. I really am excited for that. And there's still a slow of animated films releasing later this year, like, okay, alright, I mean, Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, Trolls Band Together, Disney's Wish, and then at the end of the year, Migration. And that's still a pretty good lineup. I mean, we all know what we're waiting for. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie in October. Speaking of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, we'll talk about it at the end of the video. But I feel like, yeah, this is my ranking of all the animated summer movies that have come up. Don't worry, Mario, we'll get to you at the end of the year, when I probably make a video ranking all the animated movies that have come out this entire year. Because still, this is probably one of the best years for animation in a while regarding how many bangers we're getting. There has not been a movie that has been complete garbage. That's not happened this year so far. So yeah, that's my ranking of all the summer animated movies. What did you guys think? What is your number one spot and what is your lowest spot? Tell me down in the comments. And thank you so much for AndrewIG for coming on to this video. Make sure to go check him out down below. And it's time to talk about a really exciting project that I have planned for later this year. So I haven't necessarily touched into live action lately, but regarding this October, a Five Nights at Freddy's movie releasing, I have a project planned that will release on October 28th. It's not going to reveal it just yet, maybe I will eventually, but it's a big project where I'm bringing a lot of really cool content creators for. It's going to be like an hour, 20 plus long video. I'm really excited for you guys to see it. It's a big project that I've had in the works for a while, and I honestly cannot wait for you guys to see it. It's on the story of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I'm not going to say anything else right now, but I definitely will reveal more information about it later on. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.